The first ever Bedlam in O'Brate Stadium. Hello again, everyone, and welcome to the OSU Roundup. Coming up, we're going to be talking to Colin Carmichael. We're going to talk to Kenny Gajewski, but let's start the show off with the head coach for the Cowboys, Coach Josh Holliday. And, Coach, it was the first ever Bedlam in O'Brate. And, you know, I don't know. It's just anytime we keep having these news, and I know the stadium's been, we played in a little bit, but anytime you do the first things in a brand new facility, it's just kind of fun to point out a little bit.
Yeah, it is. It is fun to, like you said, have moments, whether it's the first game, first conference game, first rivalry game, or any of the things like that, to just see how the place fills up, how the atmosphere plays out, see how the team responds. I thought last night, definitely a fun atmosphere. Both teams fighting through, coming off of busy weeks. So the emotions for last night's game maybe weren't at the typical Bedlam high that we've seen them at times before, but the game no less meaningful and a hard-fought game. Both sides grinding it out, and ultimately at the end, our kids found a little bit of a magic touch in the ninth inning and get a big pinch hit, base hit by Justin Campbell, a great bunt by Jackson Kroll. Huey Morrow gets his own bunt down, and then Caden Trinkle wins it with a base hit. So a lot of guys coming through late in the game, and then a lot of guys up and down the pitching, the bullpen in particular, that did a really nice job to keep us in a game at midweek with the short turnaround coming for the weekend.
Well, yeah, Davis came in, and a little bit of a trouble situation. Comes in, pitches two, gets you out of that. You didn't allow any runs late in the game, and then it's just interesting again. Who was the very first guy to get a win in Bedlam at O'Brate? Well, it was a third inning of work, and it was Brett Stanley. So just interesting. Yeah,
Brett's been so good for us. Become such a durable, dependable, very high-level competitor, high-level performer. He came in, he made one pitch, he got a key out there in the top of the ninth to keep it tied. The strategy there is to try to walk it off in the bottom of the ninth, and it worked out for us. So Brett's been fantastic this year. He's come so far since he got on campus. He's really grown into a man. He's really grown into a full all-around leader in the clubhouse with the way he goes about his business, and you certainly see that when he pitches.
Non-conference Bedlam, didn't count in the conference standings. This is one of two. You'll play one down in Norman as well. But by the atmosphere and by your kids' reaction after the win, who cares about the conference part of it? It is Bedlam.
Well, I don't think there's any doubt about it. I mean, you don't ever downplay the value of playing against a high-level opponent, which OU is, a talented team, which they are, and then playing in a game that has meaning because so many of these kids are raised in an environment where Oklahoma State, Oklahoma represents a little bit more than just a normal game. So I think you saw that emotion pour out, but also the excitement of seeing one of your teammates deliver and kind of the joys of victory. We've had some ups and downs this year where we learned never to take a win for granted and to always appreciate the chance to celebrate victory. So I'm glad the kids kept that in perspective. And you never want to lose sight of the value in team wins and in moments like that can propel you forward.
Well, and let's step back a series. Opened up the Big 12 season with or not open up the season, but open up O'Brate Big 12 play with Kansas State. And to get a sweep, Coach, again, the focus that it takes, the effort that it takes, that was obviously a tremendous series for you guys.
The K-State series had a lot to be excited about, starting with the pitching. Parker Scott, Justin Campbell, Justin Robleski, all outstanding. Our offensive output against some very good Kansas State starting pitching was very good. 3 straight days against a highly competitive team. That's hard to win all 3, and we showed strong desire in Game 3 to come out and finish what we started. Games 1 and 2 were very competitive. Our guys did a good job against Jordan Wicks, who's arguably the top left-hand pitcher in the country, and Carson Seymour in Game 2 for Kansas State. Those 2 young men are very highly thought of pitchers. So to win Game 1 and 2 was big. To come out and sweep Game 3 helped grab back a little bit of the ground we might have lost the week before. And then to carry that momentum into the midweek game against OU was big as well. So I thought the kids, as of late, have taken a step forward, continue to get tougher as we go, and understand what it takes to win.
And obviously now you have the early start to the weekend. West Virginia coming in here for a 3-game stand this weekend.
Yeah, that West Virginia series is always highly competitive. We have had great series with them over the years. They are a very well-coached team. They usually have a very athletic bunch of players on the field, and this year's no different. They got 2 or 3 really exceptional arms that we'll have to deal with on the mound. So another Big 12 series, as we've seen in all sports across the board. Big 12 play is highly competitive, and this week it's West Virginia Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Yeah. Thursday night at 6 o'clock, Friday at 6, and then Saturday at noon. They're taking Easter off. Coach, best of luck in that series. Appreciate the time as always.
You got it.
Take a break. When we come back a little bit later, we're going to be talking to Kenny Gajewski. They get ready for a 3-game stand against Iowa State. But up next, we talk to Colin Carmichael and find out about the whole postseason. How's that going to look for soccer? That's coming up after we take a quick break.
For all the ways you love to play, Academy Sports and Outdoors makes it easier than ever to get what you need and have fun out there. Get free shipping on your favorite brands at academy.com or get free curbside or in-store pickup at your Academy store.
Welcome back to the show, and we're joined now by the longtime head coach of the Oklahoma State Cowgirl soccer team, Colin Carmichael. Coach, pleasure to have you with us here on the show.
It's great to be here.
You guys are coming off a Bedlam win. You guys have won 8 in a row dating back to the last fall. The Big 12 is now in the book, even though we're going to talk a little bit about your next opponent coming up, which is a Big 12 opponent, but it'll be a non-conference game. But boy, it's been an interesting and a very good season.
Yeah, it's been crazy. The first thing you got to do is give credit to our kids. You know, all the changes, playing all our conference games in the fall, playing 1 game a week, playing all the non-conference in the spring, and still trying to focus on the fact that we have an NCAA tournament to look forward to. So our kids deserve a lot of credit, and so far so good.
You know, and you deserve a lot of credit, and I know I've talked to you about this a lot in other formats, but you were the first that got, the academic athletic season always gets kicked off by soccer, and it still did this year, even though we had all the disruptions. You guys were supposed to go to Norman. Didn't happen. You get a phone call. You call Kansas State. They say, hey, you want to play? Let's play. Next thing you know, you're on a bus diverting, going up there with no preparation for Kansas State. And you made the statement that, and this was very, very early on, we have to check our egos at the door. We may not look right. It may not feel exactly right. But if we get a chance to give these kids that opportunity to compete, we have to take advantage of it.
Yeah, it's how I feel. It's how I felt from the get-go, is we just felt fortunate to get to play. There was a lot of other people in our sport or in athletics who didn't, and there was a lot of people in the world who just didn't get to go to school or didn't get to work, and we just felt like that had to be our attitude, is we're blessed. We get to do what we love to do. So whether we're missing players or we have to go play somebody we didn't expect to, it's, let's suck it up and let's go. And I think part of that came from our leadership. That was the message from Coach Holder and Chad from the get-go. We're here for these kids. There's some outlying things. If you don't have a goalkeeper, that might be something. Or if you just don't have the numbers to go play a game. But if you have the numbers and you got a goalkeeper, my attitude from the get-go was let's go play, and it hadn't changed.
You're exactly right from the standpoint that from the administrative side, they were very much play if you can. So you adopted that, and I think a lot of other coaches looked at you and said, yeah, that's exactly, I agree with that. Let's move forward. And then your kids have to buy into that, and obviously your kids did.
They did. They've been great. We haven't missed a practice. We haven't missed a game. We haven't had to reschedule a game. I think I'm more proud of that than anything else that might happen towards the end of this season. We've been ready to answer the bell every time we've had a chance to go, and we've had a couple of cases and some primary contacts, but never enough to stop us from competing or training. So you got to give the medical staff credit. You got to give the training staff and the coaches, but you got to give the kids credit. They're making all these sacrifices, and what it shows is I got a bunch of kids who love to compete, and they're willing to do what it takes to get it done.
So let's talk about the year. So I think people probably need a little explanation as to how this whole thing is working. Normally, soccer is a fall sport. It got halted in the fall. There was hopes of a spring championship, and that's going to happen. So now the Big 12 portion of your schedule is done. You guys finished third. Very well, very good season. But now you're getting ready to go take on TCU, and Notre Dame is also just around the corner, which is an awesome opponent to have here in Stillwater. So talk a little bit about how the TCU match came about, and it's not as if you decided to take the last few games easy.
Yeah, in hindsight, maybe it's too hard. No, we got through the fall. We were one of the 4 conferences in women's soccer who competed this fall. And so, once we finished that, there was uncertainty about the spring. Well, most of the other conferences moved to the spring, so the Pac-12, the Big Ten, some of the AAC and a bunch. So they're playing their conference slate now. So we had our non-conference slate. Well, it was very limited on who was available to play. Because, we tried Tulsa, we tried ORU, we tried, Arkansas State, a lot of local teams within driving distance, and they weren't available because they were playing their conference matches. So we looked at who was available, and we're really good friends with the staff down at TCU. Obviously, the Bedlam game was another one that made sense to us. So we were just trying to get quality games more than anything. Now that we've played our way into a position to probably be in the NCAA tournament, you're starting to look at these games going, man, they're probably a little tougher than we might have wanted. But reverting back to what I said in August, these kids deserve to play. They deserve to go play TCU, who were the Big 12 champs. They deserve to host Notre Dame here. And, if that hurts our chances of going to postseason because we played a hard schedule, then, so be it. At least we get to play.
Well, yeah, TCU 8-0-1 on the season. Obviously, it's a very good opponent. We know Notre Dame is as well. Okay, so you said the words, we think we're in. Listen, if I look at your schedule, finish third, your record, all of those things on a normal year, undoubtedly you're in. Maybe even thinking about hosting. But that's not going to be the case this year. Instead of hosting as normal, they're going to do the same thing they've done with the men's and the women's tournament. They're going to move you to North Carolina. But they've shrunk the field to 48. Controversial? Okay. How did that come to happen?
Well, the decision was made in August, September. And to move the tournament to the spring, and they announced at that point we're going with 48 teams. I'm sure it's budget related for the NCAA, but I think now that you're looking at it, you're thinking, why can't we have 64? It doesn't make any sense. And I think I read volleyball were having the same discussion about their tournament. So, but that's where we are. Normally, yeah, we're a lock. I'd be sitting here saying, let's start making our travel plans. We're going. But with only, I think, 19 at-larges instead of 33, that changes things. So we feel really good. We still feel like we would be in if the tournament was today. Looking ahead, if we win both games, not only in, probably seeded, win one of 2, in, lose 2 in a row, I still think in, but I'm probably not sleeping the night before.
Well, and again, just to further clarify, 48 teams are going. There's still normally 31 automatic qualifiers, 2 conferences didn't play. That means 29 are getting in. Again, the margin of error. And for you guys, you didn't have a tournament, but the regular season champ, you guys determined was the Big 12's automatic qualifier.
Yeah, so TCU get in automatically, so they're in from our league. West Virginia finished second, and they also have a really good record, and they just beat Duke last weekend, so we think they're in as well. For us, we were third, 6-2-1. We're 5-0, so we do feel like, we've got to win against West Virginia. So we do feel like we got a really good case, but it just makes it harder. There's just less positions, and there's no RPI this year, really, because it wouldn't make sense. There's not enough games for it to be meaningful. So really, the committee has to just look at your body of work, and you hope the people in the committee look at what we've done and go, yeah, that's clearly an NCAA tournament team.
So as we start to wrap things up, though, start in the fall as normal now. This season will be done soon, and we'll be kicking it off again here before too long, right? Everything gets back to normal?
That's our intention, because that's what we know right now. Now, could it change again? Could there be some, pushing back of dates or movement? Of course. And who knows? I think we're doing better with COVID, but if there's some sort of setback, that could change. But right now, yeah, our intention, most of our kids will be here in July. They'll start all their summer preparation, and so they'll still get a decent rest. We'll be very conscious that they've had a longer, different season, and so May, June will probably be lighter than usual for them. But once you hit July, you're back in preparation mode for August. I think August 1st, our report date. So it's crazy, but again, I think the attitude of our team is we get to play, so we'd rather have this and a shorter break than just be told you can't play. So it's one of those things, again, you just deal with it and move forward.
I almost buried the lead in the introduction. Again, coming off an OU win. That's always a good thing.
Yeah, we don't want to bury that. No, it's always special to beat those guys. We swept them this year. We beat them in the fall at their place and then beat them here this spring. I think we're 8-1-1 in the last 10 against them, and we take a lot of pride in that. We want to be the #1 program, the premier program in the state, and to do that, you got to win Bedlam. And I also know how much it means to people around here and our fans. So, yeah, we're very proud of that. And obviously, Josh had his big win last night. So, anytime you can beat those guys, you got to enjoy it.
It's a good thing. That's exactly right. Coach, congratulations on the season. Best of luck in the next couple of matches, but more importantly, getting into the NCAA tournament.
Thanks, Casey. I appreciate it.
Appreciate it. We need to take a break. When we come back, we're going to be talking to Kenny G. He's getting ready for a 3-game stand against Iowa State starting on Thursday. We'll talk to Coach coming up right after this.
Living with joint pain. Take the first step at mercy.net/cowboysortho.
Welcome back. Time to talk about another diamond sport. Let's talk some softball. Kenny Gajewski joining us now. Coach, good to have you on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Big 12 opener last week. Went up there to Lawrence, Kansas, and Coach, this is a team for you that has been really good. But there have been some inconsistencies, and you've been very quick to point some of those out. And maybe some of that showed up a little bit on Friday night. Again, making this team potentially a little more coachable.
Yeah, I don't think I'd use the word some. I would say it hit us like a brick in our face. And really just the defense. We just had a complete meltdown, had 5 errors, couldn't get it stopped. Carrie obviously threw well enough to win that game. I didn't think that she was anywhere sharp like she can be. Our bats, we scored enough runs to win on a Friday night, but when you give a team 600 runs, it makes it really hard to win in this conference on a Friday night, and that happened. And what I was most impressed with, what I couldn't wait for, was the response. And our girls, the way they responded back on Saturday, we were in a tight 0-0 game late, and Kelly Maxwell was just unbelievable, was perfect through 6. We scored enough runs there and won that game pretty well. And then on Sunday, we just took off and did what I thought and I think we can be. Good teams respond. We play 56 games. We're going to have some performances at times that we just don't play well. You still want to win those games. And we had a chance to win that game. We didn't, and we bounced back, and that's what it's all about.
So now you don't have the midweek like you normally do because moving everything up with the Easter holiday, and you're bringing in a team in Iowa State, Coach, that's kind of like Kansas. They're improved. They certainly are good enough to compete early in a series, and I'm sure they feel like they could compete throughout the entire series. So this is certainly not a cakewalk.
No, this is not. It's never a cakewalk in this conference. I don't care what records are. You can throw it all out. When conference play goes, it's you better bring your A game, and we saw that just last week. And Iowa State, much improved. They've done a great job since their time there with the new staff. They have one of the best players in the country, having one of the best years in the country in Sammy Williams. We're going to have to play well. I have no doubt that we will. I cannot wait to play Thursday night. Our fans are going to be going crazy. I know the weather's great. It should be an electric atmosphere at our place.
It has been great. The atmosphere, as we end on that, the atmosphere has been phenomenal. And again, great weather expected. It is the home opener for the Big 12. So just all that come together, it's going to be a great weekend in your ballpark.
Yeah, I can't wait. I expect to see a lot of water flying in our deck. I expect to see, as full the house as we can have. I expect our kids will play well. I'm just I just can't wait to get back out there and watch them perform.
I hope the water tradition trumps the bare-chested tradition by the dads.
Well, yeah, I'll leave that alone.
Little bit interesting, but it has been fun for sure. It's going to be a lot of fun. 6 o'clock on Thursday, 6 o'clock on Friday. That will be on ESPN Plus, and then at noon on Sunday. Coach, best of luck. Appreciate the time as always.
Thank you.
Hey, we want to say thanks to Josh Holliday, Colin Carmichael, and Kenny Gajewski, and our thanks to you for tuning in. We'll catch you guys next time right here on the OSU Roundup.